Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden, and this guy right next to me, that's Tim, and this is The Second Legacy. And thank you so much for stopping by. Today, my beautiful people who love the country, they are patriots themselves and love that Second Amendment. We are going to talk about what I think, Tim, is the demise of death, of destruction of gun buybacks, because the progressives have officially thrown it to the useless category. I can't wait to walk you through that one. Then we're going to poke some fun at Illinois about assault weapon ban approvals and acceptance. Then we've got a goofy gun grabbers at the end. This is going to be a fun one. I can't wait. If you guys enjoy this content, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and help the channel grow. And thank you in advance for that consideration. Tim, I'm so excited because something that we have said how many years now about gun buybacks and how ineffectual they are. I mean, like what, 10, 20, 15 years?
Yeah, and I love them because they're great for content when the creators find out about them. Like Brandon Herrera and Donut went down there. they were trying to buy guns because they're FFLs and they're trying to buy guns from people and they're interacting with the police and stuff like that. And you got the guys that'll hear about a buyback and they'll sit up all night with their 3D printers just running off Glock frames. And then they'll take them and sell them. They got like $2 worth of the printed material in it and they get a $50 gift card or something. And I love that. Soak up that money and put it back into the gun community and go buy yourself a new firearm. So from that regard, I love them. Right? Yeah. From that regard, I love them because it's a great opportunity for us to troll them. But yes, they are completely ineffectual. We don't have to get into the whole argument of you can't buy back something you never owned. Well, yeah, I agree. A buyback, the name is typical leftist nonsense, right? But the fact that they're spending all this money really they're getting junk guns. I mean, they're getting like bringing in grandpa's old scroll rifle after grandpa passes, So
dude, I can't, man.
You don't see a whole lot of assault weapons and weapons of war.
I know for a fact, because I just uploaded this, that you have not read these and you are totally jumping the script. That all of it is in
Am
here.
I really?
I
haven't seen any of this yet.
Oh, dude, yeah. It's so great.
For those of you new to Second Legacy, how this works. Oh, sorry, man. I didn't want to step on. But for those of you new to Second Legacy, how this works is Braden finds news events and then he'll surprise me with them and try to get my reaction. So everything that I just said, I have no idea what's coming. So just so you know.
Okay, and then we break it down and we give some analysis and 2A love. It's fantastic. Well, I'm just going to start you off with the article title here. This is just going to set us in the right direction. This is from The Atlantic, Tim, and I'm sure you're aware The Atlantic is no conservative outlet. We are talking lefty, left. This is number one. There's just one problem with gun buybacks. They don't work. Wow.
Dun, dun, dun. It's like, and you're just coming to this conclusion now. I mean, I get it. They're not the sharpest knives in the drawer, and dealing with the mind virus is a tough thing. I mean, there's no treatments for it. So yes, they're a little slow on the uptake, but they get it. They got it. They figured it out.
They are arriving, and it is fantastic to see. So I'm just going to walk you through a few of the things that we've talked about recently before we even get into what they're throwing it under the bus. Now, maybe this has something to do with the mindset of it, right? So you remember the story we covered back in December where the gun buybacks were being handed to companies who were breaking them down and destroying the receivers and then selling off the accessories like the stocks, the barrels, the trigger group, all that stuff,
right.
The grips, because it's not the gun, right? So this clearly set off some sort of mental domino in the leftist gun control area, because I've seen nothing but negative press for gun buybacks across the board. Like there's not been one positive thing said from the left. It's like they've fallen out of vogue and they've fallen from grace. And I don't think they're coming back because, to your point, they don't work. But they said it doesn't work. What's that about?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. You got to wonder, what do they really think they were going to accomplish with this? Did they truly think that gangbangers were going to get out of the gang life and they were going to show up with their mini Dracos and hand them over for their $50 gift card after they just got done paying, $3,000 for the thing out of the trunk of a car? I mean, what did they think they were really going to accomplish with these things? And I always laugh at the stuff like
mini Draco.
Look up, fellow gun people. Check out what we did today. Look at, we love guns in the 2A, but we just want to get these out of the hands of criminals. Davy Hogg line there. And then they show a bunch of bolt action rifles from the 1940s. It's like,
yep, that's true.
It's crazy.
The pump assault shotguns weapons of the day, Tim. Assault weapons of the day is what those were. They're weapons of war.
Yeah.
But
well, do you remember there was
the
like
thing
recently?
that's
So somebody brought in like an STG-44 that a World War II veteran had brought home and kept, and they had turned it in. But then the police officer said, "Hey, you cannot destroy this. This belongs in a museum," and they actually saved the gun. So every once in a while, a weapon of war will pop up, but it's a rarity.
dude, could you imagine working a gun buyback and you walk over to a car and they hand you an STG-44 with a stamp of 1942 with like a swastika on it? I'd be like, I'll give you $3,000 right now. However much money you want, I don't care.
This is highly illegal. I'm going to take this away from you right now. You shouldn't have this, and then like run to the range with it.
I wouldn't even go to the range with it. I would just, oh goodness, I would be like,
well, I'm sitting there talking to him. I'll be looking for
8mm
Kurtz ammunition online, like on gun, on AmmoSeek, you know, like,
how do I do?
You shouldn't have that. $300 for a box. That's just wrong. Put that in my car. You got to take that away right now. Bye. Okay.
Exactly. Now. Exactly. Well, so now let's go to the question that you just asked. I think this is the important piece as we go into this. What was the outcome that they expected? And I think that's where you have to dive deeper on this, because that's where it all falls apart. You have the perceptions, the expected reality, and then actual reality, right? So you have to dive in on the left side, the gun control side. Think about what they were thinking. This will get all the guns off the street. And because the gun controllers only see the problem being physical guns, they thought A plus B equals C. It's so obvious and so easy. Guns are the problem. We get rid of the guns and we give them money for the guns, and then there's no guns, because they only see it, Tim, through the idea that guns are the existing problem. However, they're looking at it in a vacuum. Zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to walk you through a few of the things here, because it comes down to basic understandings of economics. Why are you going to hand someone something that's worth $1,000 for $100? You're not going to, because that just doesn't make fiscal sense.
And speaking of economics here, I go on my communist rant, but they just got kicked in the teeth when they found out that their number one chop shop was selling the parts. They just loved contacting them and saying, "Hey, can you come destroy all these guns?" Yeah, sure. For free, right? In their mind, the gun grabber's like, "Can you come to chop these up for free?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And so they come and chop them up, but then they take the parts and sell them, because we live in a capitalist society and nothing is free, and they're not going to go chop up guns and lose money doing it. They're a business. So they were selling the parts to offset, because the commies didn't want to give up the money. Had they just paid the people, they wouldn't be in this conundrum, right?
Exactly right.
So,
but anyway, that's the best irony.
Yeah. So because of their socialist policies, it's failing them. Oh, shucks. It's not completely socialist policies, but I got to bring that up.
Back to the drawing board. Nuts. Well, you said something that's so incredible. And again, this is coming from the Atlantic. Man, this is insane. So remember how you said something about they wouldn't be used in crimes because they're old archaic guns? Well, the Atlantic heard you, and they said it themselves. But the antique arsenal at the Durham event demonstrates one of the recurring flaws of buyback efforts. You mostly get guns that wouldn't be used in crimes anyway. Most guns in the U.S. are committed with handguns, but few modern operable ones get turned in.
Duh.
I
mean, I've seen
no kidding.
Guns show up at these things that, you know, are completely rusted, look like they've been through fires, missing parts. They're all old. And again, occasionally you'll see something that they're going for, and that's the one that they'll grab. The closer the gun gets to the narrative, then that's the one they'll post pictures of, you know, when they boast about the success, you know, of this gun buyback. They're always a success when they report on them, the people that ran them. But then the media looks at this and goes, that ain't much of a success.
Raging success. Raging all over. There's success everywhere. Get the napkins.
There's not a whole lot of drive-by squirrel hunting going on in the streets of Chicago, folks.
No, there's not. There's really not. But, you know, it's interesting that you say that, because it turns out that ARs aren't really brought in a lot. Isn't that weird?
Shocking. I think I just addressed that one, right?
It's odd. It's so odd. I mean, I don't even need to do number 4. You nailed it. And now this is the part, something else that you said. This is number 5. I don't even know why I'm here. You're just on fire. So here's number 5. This is about the ghost guns, Tim.
Uh-oh,
An
not those.
additional challenge for gun buybacks today and for law enforcement more broadly are so-called ghost guns, which are built from kits or 3D printed and don't have serial numbers. Listen to this, dude. Police leaders around the country have expressed concerns about these guns because they can be manufactured at home and can't be traced. But most buybacks prohibit ghost guns because officials don't want to encourage anyone to produce guns just to pocket rewards.
And this is a recent development, folks, because in the
Oh my
past,
God.
they most certainly have purchased 3, but they're starting to figure out, like, we're gaming the system, right? We're going up, we're
That's
showing
exactly
up with
it.
the $2 printed part, getting $50 for it, and we're flipping it into guns and ammo, right? I mean, that's what the people are
Right,
doing.
but do you understand? You just said it. You just said the entire point. Listen, no one, it all comes down to economics. It all comes down to a lot of different factors other than just the mindset of the gun controller that says guns are the problem, so everyone thinks the way I do. No. If
Right.
I have a piece of gold that's worth $1,000, I'm not going to give it to you for 100, even if you tell me gold's bad, because it's worth $1,000.
Right.
So I'm going to expect $1,000 for it, and then I'm going to turn around and spend $100 and get an even better one.
But here,
For
I don't know if the
1,100.
article, but the article may not even talk about this, but people have used these in the past to get rid of guns that were used in crimes because there's no questions
skirted
asked.
past that.
They didn't talk about that?
They skirted past it. They touched
Oh,
on
did
it
they?
very briefly, but it wasn't worth mentioning in this video.
Okay. So, I mean, that is another common issue with this, right? Because they say, hey, look, this is no questions asked, no ID shown, and this is better than throwing your gun in the river. Just bring it to us. We'll crush it, and nobody will be the wiser. So they're assisting in crime.
Yes.
Anyway.
I mean, that's a very stupid point of it, but yes, that is also a piece. But the other part about the economics, Tim.
Yeah.
You what?
No, I mean,
no, please finish your thought.
No, I was just saying, I know that this has occurred because I've read, articles about them doing that they're like, well, maybe we should revisit this because there's a lot of these guns that have been used in crimes being showed up, being destroyed, and we don't even know who the people are, But anyway, go ahead.
No, that's very true. So something else that you just said, wrapping that economics thought. So just like you're not going to get rid of the $1,000 gold coin for $100, you also come in with something that costs $2 and you sell it for $100. So you're actually making money on one end. So all they're going to get is lumps of plastic that aren't guns, but they're considering them guns because they're not ghost guns. So they're basically getting worthless plastic, giving money as a stimulus to anybody who's smart enough to do it, and then they're not getting the guns they desired, and they're only getting old, decrepit guns that don't work, that they wouldn't get a value for anyway.
And this goes back to my original opening comments, was that the gun buybacks are actually kind of fun because they lose money and the 2A community makes money, right? By gaming the system with the 3D printed stuff and just taking them junk, and parts kits or whatever that they want to, dump and actually make a profit on. It's yeah. And it's funny that it took them this long to figure this out because these things are not new.
It did.
Gun buybacks have been going on for decades. Yeah.
For decades, and they've been like the ultimate virtue signal, right? Well, this is number 6, and this is where it comes down to what we've said. The reason buybacks, and this is all from the Atlantic still, the reason buybacks don't bring in the right guns is basic economics, according to Alex Tabarrok, a professor at George Mason University in Virginia. Most buybacks are offering much less than the price of a new Glock pistol or AR-15. And even if police agencies buy up some number of guns in a jurisdiction, people can still acquire new ones at stores or on the black or gray market. One common estimate is that the U.S. has more than 400 million guns in circulation. Durham County's sporadic purchases of 450 guns barely register, and all the buybacks put together don't take enough guns out of circulation to raise the cost of those that remain. That's the point.
Yep.
They're literally, what he just explained was the very reason, scientific explanation through economics of why this doesn't work. You have to take the amount of guns from, say it's 100 is the imaginary number, down to 50. So therefore, the price of existing guns increases in value. But because there is no cap and control on replacing that number, the static amount of guns in the population, you cannot artificially manipulate the pricing. You will never be able to give them a fair market value. You can't. It's a flawed idea.
I'm glad they figured this out. But sadly, they're going to move on to something else. So it's not like they're just giving up and going home. They're going to move on to something else. But
and we just knock them down. They
Yep.
set them up, and we just knock them down. That's what we do, baby.
Giving them
And you
another
know
big
what?
L on this one, but I knew this was coming.
Oh, big old L.
Yeah.
Big old L. I mean, it's bad for the Atlantic and New York Times to come out against it. No, you're not. That's like the left's like holy sacraments in news and stuff. So
Right.
like you're not recovering from that one.
I'm sure there's a lot of pearl clutching and hand wringing going on after reading this article, but I was
Oh,
promoting these on X. I thought we were saving the world. What do you mean they're not bringing in the right
Oh.
guns? Anyway.
Oh my goodness gracious. New Mexico.
Oh,
that
I
was
know.
a fun one. Well, you know what else is a big fat failure with a big old L? The
Biden?
Illinois assault weapons ban
Oh,
registration. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. He cares so much, Tim. He wakes up every day. They told me this. He wakes up every day and says, I care about the American people so much. What am I going to do because I love them so much today? He is focused. He is sharp.
Yep.
And you watch your mouth.
And he's improving, dude. He's no longer falling downstairs. He's falling up them. So
listen, the man's incredible. He's setting new goals everywhere.
Yep. All right, back to Illinois.
The propaganda is so bad. Oh, it's so bad. Anyway, you're right, Tim. I've just got to read the subtitle here. This is on number 8. I'm just going to bring it forward. I'm just going to say it. A new law allowed gun owners to keep assault weapons if they disclose them. Illinois county registration rates range from 0.5% to 1.8% on the high end. So you literally had a success rate at a county level. This isn't just state anymore. Remember how Pritzker was like, well, people are confused and they're trying to figure it out and the website's not all there and there's
Yeah.
Well, now good luck. This is county-wide, county by county. Minimum is 0.5, maximum is 1.8. You didn't even break 2 in your most liberal counties.
Yeah, you get all the way up into Crook County, as the locals like to call it. That might be their 1.8, right? But you get down to
it's not actually.
It isn't? Oh, they have it by county?
No.
Because I would imagine the lower counties, the ones in the southern part of the state where it's more rural, they're the ones in the 0.5 area. So who's in the 1.8 area?
Oh, well, see, that's the interesting part. Yeah, so they didn't say specifically Springfield, but they did bring in some others. Let me walk you through just a few pieces here.
Okay.
So you are dead on the rural residents being the 0.5. In fact, in number 9, it says right there, only 23 White County residents or 0.5% of registered gun owners did it. It's one of the lowest. So we know 0.5 is the min. 23 whole people. I feel safer, don't you?
You know, they like to post like every gun permit holder in various states and try to, shame them. They put it in newspapers and stuff. We ought to put these 23 guys and gals.
Well, we should
put their names out there like
shrine them.
Shame on you. Anyway.
No, it's good.
I'm kidding about doxing, folks.
No, don't dox. Dox is bad.
Yeah.
Dox is bad unless it's Bugs Bunny.
Just cracking bad jokes over here, folks.
So
anyway.
0.5%. No, they're not bad. They're
23.
Special. Some hit, some don't. But 23 people. It's okay. So
they're probably all related. Anyway.
I don't know. Oh my God. There it is. I don't know how they swing this on the leftist gun control side as a victory. It's impossible. They cannot. The emperor has no clothes, man. They cannot go, look what we did.
But this is a reoccurring theme. Right? Yeah, when Connecticut did this stuff, nobody registered. When Colorado did this stuff with the magazines and things, nobody cared. Every time a state does this stuff, there's mass non-compliance, and the mainstream media doesn't report on it or plays it down. Right? So,
Tim,
but this is funny.
Tim, I swear, dude, I know you're not reading the next slides, but okay, we're just gonna skip right to it because you said it. This is number 12.
Okay.
Yep. Adam Winkler. A law professor at UCLA. Well, this guy is a well-known witness, researcher, gun controller, right? That's what this guy does. He's always cited in these references.
Right.
He studies gun policy, said Illinois' low registration numbers are not surprising. California passed an assault weapons ban in 2016, requiring owners to register their weapons with the state's Justice Department. Winkler said gun and magazine registration rates are usually low across the board.
Yeah.
Then what are we doing?
Yep. But see, they don't care about how effective laws are. They don't care. All they do is they want to pass them because it goes back to the argument of incrementalism. They just want to keep chipping away at our rights. They know that these silly little laws that they pass don't change the outcome anywhere. They don't affect the crime rate one way or the other. If anything, it affects it the wrong way, making more people victims and helpless. But this is so typical, and this
Mhm.
is just them trying to incrementally take away our rights. And they're going to say, and the argument will be like, well, gosh, this just didn't work. We got to do something else, and the something else is going to be even more restrictive, even more damning, even more dangerous, even more detrimental to your rights. And they're just going to keep going down that road. So,
Oh, no, they do. They absolutely do. But I personally take a little bit of solace and joy and store it away in my memory banks of when their experts say it's not going to work, it's never going to work, and they always have
oh
low
yeah.
rates. I just kind of like that on the inside. It's like it makes me happy right in my old aortic pump.
Do you think Giffords or Newtown or any of those goons or Davy Hogg is going to talk about any of this? No, they're just going to keep pushing for the bans. They don't care if they're effective or not. They don't care
Of course.
about anything other than getting all the way to the end, which is taking all your guns away. That's all they care about.
Well, you're not wrong. So I have to answer your direct question to me about this because you were curious about Cook County.
Mm-hmm.
So Cook County actually had a lower registration rate than the state average. So they actually had lower registration in Cook County, where Chicago is. The number one now, and the reason they said that, by the way, just as a fairness note, they said because they were banned in that area already. That's why the numbers were exceedingly low, because they already banned them. But you know what? No way to prove that.
Yeah.
Here's the highest one. So the let's see, from McLean County. Yeah, this is the biggest one. In McLean County in central Illinois, whose county seat is Bloomington, they had the highest rate of any Illinois county at a whopping 1.8%.
Bloomington doesn't surprise me.
Bloomington. So yeah, so that's where that was. And then a close second would be Kendall County. This is number 13. An ex-urban area of west of Chicago, has one of the state's highest registration rates, but it still represents a small share, about 1.7 of FYD holders. These guys, they have put their flag in failure so hard because they ran the gambit of pushing something so stringent that people are literally just shoving their middle fingers in the air, and you can't recover from this. Like, and this is I think this is the really big takeaway and the payoff. You said it yourself. Every time that there's been a mag ban registration or a mag ban or an AR registration, any type of registration, the people have literally said, that's cute. Anyway, so what's on TV?
Yep.
I mean, like, every single time. And then we have multiple examples. I can never remember the one in the Northeast. Was it Connecticut? You always tell me it's
Isn't that the one?
Connecticut, right?
I think it's Connecticut. I'd have to
The ones that continue to bounce back, the ones that continue to have to back up the.
I think that's the state that did it, and they said, well, yeah, we've had less than 1% compliance, so we're going to extend the date and give people more time. They just may not know about it. I'm sure
procrastinate.
And everybody's like, yeah, still no, and so they just kind of stop talking about it. It's like they don't care. You go to Colorado where they did the magazine ban, and the police there all came out right after the ban, like, we're not enforcing this. And so people just kept bringing them into the state. People keep using them at the ranges, and nobody cares. The law's still there, but it's not being enforced.
It's just ignored, right? Because the sheriff, I mean, even in Chicago, that we've covered this, I think every single sheriff of every single county, with the exception of 3, is not enforcing this.
Yep, that's right. They refuse to do it.
It's so embarrassing. Like, at a certain point, the lefties just have to understand they have no clothes on this. They have got to abandon this, or they're going to lose more politically, because it's completely ineffectual. And it makes them look like idiots.
They've been losers my entire life. They don't care that they're losers. They just keep failing forward. They'll take this loss and they'll move on to the next one. They'll push for this in another state, in another state, in another state. They don't care if it works or not. This isn't where they're trying to go with this.
Like?
What?
But you know what
insanity?
That sounds like, Tim? Well, I mean, of course, it does. I mean, like,
the leftist mental mind
That's not
virus?
where I was going, but I like where you went with that. But no, this is literally it got shut down there. Well, luckily we can continue our fight and our funding for another 31 states. I mean, like, something that we've said consistently a lot on the show is this is a gun control corporation. They have overhead, they have payroll, they have positions, they have corporate leadership, they have all sorts of expenses. They have to keep the money flowing. Like, this is no longer about, I'm going to stand up and we're going to do something because we don't want guns. No. Now this is, we don't want guns, but we also have bills to pay. So where can we make this make this a business model? I mean, this is a controlling business model at this point. Would you disagree with that, or you think that's right?
No, I agree. Yeah. I mean, we've touched on that before. I totally agree. Absolutely.
That's not a good place to be.
Bunch of losers.
But you know what? I feel like you're ready. I think I've got the oomph from you. I get that vibe. It's time. It's time for G3. You're gonna bring that spice. I feel it.
I
Because
hope
you
so.
you found some stuff on some doctors, and an old friend makes an appearance, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. We have a favorite contributor to the show. It'd be awesome to get him on the show. By the way, I don't think he'd do it, but anyway,
Oh
let's
heck
go to.
no! I could not
Well, it
handle
would be
that.
hysterical. I would rip him apart, and he would just probably kill the connection, and then pretend on X that he lost his internet connection. But anyway, so number 14, Doc. This is a retweet from our friends over at Newtown, and this is from Doctors for America. And this tweet says, in 2023, 42,967 people died in the United States from gun-related injuries. If a patient has firearms in the home, clinicians, we were struggling with that because I keep trying to put a T in there.
Clinicians,
thank you, need to know how to have conversations about the importance of gun storage and the options available. So basically what they're saying here, Doctors for America is saying your doctor, when you go in for your checkup or you want to go in and, you have a sore throat and they're going to check you out, in the conversation that comes up like, hey, hey, you got any guns in the home? Hey, you want to have a conversation about the importance of gun safety and storage? Yeah, let's, matter of fact, right over here, I got this nice biometric safe. We can get you some Oxycontin and we can sell you one of these safes and we can get you all set up right here, and you can keep your Oxycontin in the safe with your gun. It's just like, who would think this is a good idea? I mean, who would go to their doctor? If my doctor said, hey, do you have any guns in your home? I mean, like, hey, have you ever been caught whacking your pickle in the shower? I mean, what kind of question is that? You can take that and go.
You said okay, I swear to God, I meant to hold my composure on that, but you said whacking, and I was like, oh please God, is it weed whacking? Is it yard work? Is it moles? What's gonna happen right now?
Pickles.
You just went off the shower. Okay. It was a good run. Sorry, I'm sorry. You caught me on that one.
The algorithms are gonna have fun with us on that one probably. But anyway, seriously, who goes to their doctors for gun storage advice? What's next? Hey, doc, you got any tips on red dot sights and lights? I mean, of course, this is where they're going. Come on, chime in here. What's your take on the Doctors for America?
I got this. I'm ready. Okay. All right. So a few things that stand out to me on the high level, because we got to analyze these things, Tim. There's always so much to analyze. So first thing I notice is the obvious medical connection, which you illustrated lovely and nicely. Panelist, Kristen Song. Well, Kristen Song, I have nothing against the woman, but she is an advocate for Ethan's Law because she is the sponsor or the starter of that bill, and I believe it was Connecticut. Don't quote me on that state. But she is the mother of Ethan's Song, who was killed when a bunch of kids were playing with guns. And so that's where the safe storage laws called Ethan's Law come from. Kristen Song is actually the person who pushes them. That's why she's always in Congress testifying. She's always pushing for mandatory safe storage laws. That's who that is. Okay. Now, for her to be on a panelist on this this little panel, I guess is the best way to describe it, or a virtual event, she's not a doctor. She's a gun control advocate who is pushing for safe storage laws through mandatory enforcement of the government. So why is she on a medical panel? It's the first thing. Second thing that I notice here is they're offering CME credits for this event to attend. So are you familiar with CME credits?
No.
Okay. Basically, it's where you have to do continuing education for your reinforcement of your medical practice. So it's if you're a nurse or a doctor or whatever, you have certain amounts that you can get credit for if you attend certain events. Gotcha. Right. So it's basically you have to do X amount per year or per whatever X amount of time frame. So they're actually offering credits to further your medical requirements to attend something that's around
politics,
firearm storage, and politics, given by a gun controlling advocate. Like this is, when you look at this entire thing, it's not a good melding at all of what's happening right now, because that's going to be a gun. They're going to throw some stats up. Maybe I should send Katie in.
You should.
Ooh, maybe. I don't know. How much do I like her today? I don't know. We'll see.
Something else I
might get her.
What now? typically doctors want to be referred to in that way. So it would be Dr. Song if she were a doctor, correct? Have you noticed that none of these people, the moderator nor any of the panelists, have doctor preceding their name?
Well, actually, hold on a second. You just struck something. You keep going on your next one. I'm going to do some.
You're gonna see if you can find
Jeremy Stein.
Okay.
Well, Jeremy Stein reminds me of something, and I'm trying to remember what it is. I think he's a gun control executive. Hold on a second.
Yeah, that's
but please take
pretty.
The wheel.
We'll come back to it. So we'll go up to number 15, Doc. This is from our friends Davey over at K-12 Shooting Database, School Shooting Database, and this is what he has to say. He posted this little gem this morning. 2 Texas 6th graders were arrested after pointing a gun at classmates in the school bathroom and making threats to shoot someone on campus. Both kids are charged with multiple felonies, including having a firearm in a gun-free school zone. So why do I think this is so interesting and ironic? It was a gun-free school zone. How did the guns get in there?
That's weird.
And wouldn't security have caught? Oh, that's right. Davey doesn't like security. We don't need security. If we just got rid of all the guns, we could get rid of all security, all police, all everything, TSA, Secret Service. Just get rid of the guns and we don't need any of this. And this just kind of goes along that line.
Didn't we talk about, boom, I found it. We're going to come right back to that. Oh my gosh. Hold on a second. This is delicious. Yes. So you are absolutely correct. It is a gun control zone. And last night, yesterday, didn't we talk about how Davey at the K through 12 school shooting base was decrying the fact that there's a $3 trillion budget for school safety or school shooting prevention, like security guards and training and stuff. Wasn't that the same guy?
Yeah, it's like we could save $3 or $6 billion if we just did away with security. It's completely useless, and experts agree it does nothing. I mean, yeah, well,
it's so weird.
I mean, where do you find an expert that says security doesn't work?
Oh,
you know what?
My goodness gracious.
The opposite side of that, Braden, is, well, what does work? Well, clearly posting a sign outside of your house saying this is a gun-free zone and I wouldn't hurt you if I had to, right below it, handwritten, come on in, take what you want. That's a better option than security, apparently.
You'd think. I have some research and updates for you. I did this on the fly, so this is really, really amazing. Are you ready for this?
I want to learn more about these panelists, these good doctors for this.
I got
for the CME credits. So what are the doctors?
There's really great news.
Yeah.
There's great news, Tim. You know that guy that you just brought up, like that picture. So I said Kristen Song is the inspiration of the mandated storage, right?
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy Stein, that sounded really familiar. Mm-hmm. Turns out he's also a gun controller, and according to his Twitter profile, I just gave Doc a image of him posing at the White House with the 2 new directors of the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Wow. I told you it struck a bell. That's weird. That's so. Well, hold on a second. Maybe we're onto something here, Tim. Maybe.
So clearly, these people don't have medical doctorates.
Yeah.
And they're not even PhDs. They're just gun grabbers. But hey, they're talking to doctors and they're giving out CME credits.
That's so odd. What they're giving out? How are they doing that, dude? That's weird.
Yeah, well, if there's a rule there somewhere, it's meant to be broken by the left. Only the right's held to rules. I mean, rules.
All right, so the person in the middle is a doctor. So the person actually in the middle is a true doctor, Deanna Behrens. Jeremy Stein on the right. I found one. Jeremy Stein is a gun controller with a gun control group, and Kristen Song also a gun controller. So it's a majority gun controllers. Yeah. At a panelist for medical
2 gun
doctors.
Controllers. They threw a medical doctor in there just so they could claim it, but then they left the doctor out so they'd all feel equal, I guess.
Because you have to sometimes.
Gotta have equity. Yeah, in your panelist.
Equity.
Yeah.
So, Doc, I just put those images in the show notes for us. Just throw those up at the appropriate time. But yeah, they're all there. Turns out, Tim.
Well, that was a lot of fun. Great chat there, docs. Oh, I'm sorry. Doctor
gun controllers?
and gun controllers. All right, folks. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon.